This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Netflix. Coming up on Destructoid, the Bureau XCOM Declassified gets declassified. I talk about Pokemon like a big dumb man baby, and we learn an important lesson about Shaquille O'Neal. Shut up and jam right now on Destructoid.
Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday Newsday, Tara Long.
Boy, we have a lot of exciting things to talk about
Boy,
today.
I like rhyming Tuesday with Newsday.
Yes.
We do have some fun things to talk about. Right now, for starters, I'm going to talk about Pokemon because I feel like it, and if anyone tries to stop me, I'm going to throw a big tantrum.
That's not the news I was referring to, just so you guys know.
We're going to talk about Pokemon right now because I said so. So as you guys probably know, Pokemon X and Y are going to be hitting the 3DS this fall, and it's the first game in the main series that is actually completely rendered in polygons instead of just in sprites, and it will, of course, feature 3D Pokemon because it's on the 3DS. Yeah! Previously, we'd gotten a look at a few of the new monsters. There was that evolution of Mewtwo that we didn't talk about on the show because I think it's stupid looking, but today we get a new trailer that shows off some other slightly less stupid-looking monsters. First and foremost, there's Go-Goat, who's a big goat that's covered in leaves that you can ride on. I want to point out, this is the 6th generation of Pokemon, and Pokemon trainers just now are figuring out that you can ride animals on land instead of just taking a mountain bike everywhere. Like, they can ride the Pokemon in the water, they can ride them in the sky, but for some reason, riding on the land has never occurred to them. I don't know. And then there's Helioptile. I don't know if I'm saying that right because it's a made-up word. It looks like a lizard with neckties for ears, and I'm guessing by the name that it can use them like propellers to fly around. And then there's Fletchling, who's just a regular-ass bird, and then there's Pancham, who's a regular-ass panda.
I can't believe people like this stuff.
Game Freak, what happened to those crazy Pokemon from the last generation? There were like piles of garbage and chandeliers and goth chicks and weasels that had their pants pulled down, and now you're just doing regular animals, and I'm not impressed. I think these Pokemon are lame, but anyway, if you want to play a game about regular-ass animals, Pokemon X and Y is coming out this October. Now, shifting gears, if you want to see some interesting monsters and animals and creatures in your video games, then you will be happy to know that there's a new Adventure Time game in the works, courtesy of WayForward. We don't know a whole lot, but the follow-up to last year's Adventure Time, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage, is called Adventure Time, explore this dungeon because I don't know. And it's going to be a multi-platform release coming to 3DS, Wii U, 360, PS3, and PC, but sadly not to the Vita. It's supposed to have 4-player co-op and voice acting, so that sounds like it could be fun. And there, I talked about Pokemon and Adventure Time back to back. Go share this on your Tumblr and reblog it, because teenagers love this stuff.
Moving on to something that's, well, maybe for teenagers, but probably slightly more mature. Today is launch day for Metro Last Light. You guys might have seen Jim Sterling's review, which actually went up on this channel yesterday. That's the thing that they're doing now. I also played it this weekend, and I put my review up over on our Rev3 Games channel. My thoughts mostly matched up with Jim's. We both agreed that the atmosphere and the narrative were hands down the best parts of this game, and huge improvements over Metro 2033, particularly with a story. The gameplay, on the other hand, is where we seemed to differ a little bit. So if you played Metro 2033, you would know that it is an extremely difficult game, and not always in the fairest way. So 4A made some concessions for the sequel, like there's more opportunities to collect ammo and medkits and air filters and things. Your character can also take slightly more damage before they die than before. Just small things like that I feel make the game a little bit more accessible, but also sort of cancel out a lot of the survival horror elements that drew people into the first game. So Jim seemed to take a little bit more issue with that than I did, despite the fact that we both still immensely enjoyed the combat. I mean, it is a fun game. I think the important thing to remember here, though, is that even though it is a first-person shooter, the shooting is still the least interesting part of it. I said in the very last line of my review that I would recommend this game to anyone with an appreciation for beauty, no matter how dismal, and that really is like the absolute best way I can sum it up. It is totally depressing and yet also completely awe-inspiring. Just in the level of detail that's been put into every single aspect of the game. I'm a total sucker for that kind of shit, so I loved it. I gave Metro Last Light a 4 out of 5 in my review, which again I said you can find over on Rev3 Games. Jim Sterling awarded it a 7 out of 10, which I believe is one of the lower scores that I've seen. He still enjoyed it though. You can find his video review up on this channel as well, or if you'd like a bit more detail, he also has a written review over on Destructoid.com. This is one of those games that I think is sort of a little bit better suited for video reviews because you really have to see it to experience it.
Are there spiders that crawl on your face?
There are. I put one of those in my review.
Won't be playing that game. So yesterday, everyone's coverage of the Bureau XCOM Declassified was finally declassified. I promise that's the last time I will make that joke this episode. And everyone is finally able to talk about the time they got with the game during a preview event last week. In his write-up over on Destructoid.com, Hamza Aziz really drives home the fact that this, the Bureau involves, it involves third-person shooting in real time, but it still is a strategy game. It still incorporates the strategic elements that XCOM fans know and love. And after my time with the game, I am inclined to agree with him. Players take on the role of William Carter, who is an agent for the Covert Bureau organization, which was formed to defend against Soviet threats, as it is set in 1962 during the Cold War. But the Bureau's purpose quickly changes after aliens invade, and they're more focused on fighting aliens. As Carter, players will also command 2 additional agents on their missions who can learn different skills and can be outfitted and customized accordingly. You can actually change their clothes so they're different colors. I made my guys all wear little pink vests. During combat, you can push a button and it'll pull up this kind of battle focus mode, which is essentially like a cross between the combat wheel in Mass Effect. It's sort of like a kind of an aiming reticle for where you're going to point your guys, and the VAT system in Fallout 3, which shows sort of different percentage of a hit you're going to make on an enemy, and also the movement system from XCOM Enemy Unknown, where you have that little kind of line that traces out where you want your troops to go. So at a glance, this game might look like a third-person shooter, but it has a lot more going on, and it's not going to work out so hot if you just run in guns blazing and try to shoot the aliens with your guns. Different agents will be better suited for different missions, and you can have up to 8 dudes total working for you, and obviously you can take 2 on your missions, so you've got a bunch sitting at home. And while you're out on your own missions, you can send them on dispatch missions, which are sort of like sort of like passive side quests, so they kind of go do that, and they earn experience, and then they're a little bit stronger when you take them out into the field. Also, there is permadeath, so the guys that you spend time training, if they die in action, they are dead. So it's a little bit hardcore like that. On top of that, the game seems to put a very heavy emphasis on narrative. There are conversation trees during the cutscenes, which actually totally surprised me, and journal entries and audio recordings scattered around the level. So there's much more of a story than we got, for instance, in XCOM Enemy Unknown. I think a lot of people have been really skeptical about the Bureau, especially considering how many changes it's undergone since its lengthy development since it was first announced. But I came away from my time with it feeling pleasantly surprised. Of course, I only played through 1 mission, so take it with a grain of salt, but for now I think it is a game that is worth keeping an eye on. Hamza has his preview over on Destructoid.com, and it's a nice in-depth assessment of what the Bureau has to offer, much more detail about the gameplay and all that. And I've got an interview up over with the games producer on our Rev3 Games channel. The Bureau is hitting PS3, 360, and PC on August 20th, so if you like the 1960s and some aliens and some tactics, then maybe check it out.
It's funny the turn that this game has made since it was first announced as like the XCOM shooter, which of course is like just those 2 words together sort of give you icky feelings in your stomach, but now it looks like it's actually shaping up to be pretty good. Moving on, I don't know how or why this happened, but there were like 50 sequel announcements today, and we don't have time to talk about all of them, so I'm gonna list the 2 that I think are most important. First up, The Incredible Machine, one of the greatest games ever made, and what I credit for turning me into a math nerd is getting a sequel. Did you hear that, Max? My prayers have been answered. Do you like this game? Did you ever play this game?
I never got into it. Never played it.
I was like 10, so it's pretty old. And I think it came out like several years before I started playing it. I should mention that this is more of a spiritual successor than a proper sequel, but it's still being worked on by the same guys that made The Incredible Machine, all of whom are very excited to be working on this project, and I am excited for them. The game is going to be called Contraption Maker. They've already put up a website for it at contraptionmaker.com, which says it's going to feature a handful of new features like co-op play, modding, and the ability to share your creations with others. There's some more on there that they list in their little description box. And they are currently projecting an alpha release on PC and Mac for this summer. So keep your eyes peeled for that. In other sequelitis news. ZombiU, one of the only Wii U exclusives worth owning right now, and possibly ever, may also be getting a sequel in the near to distant future. That was a lie, actually, because Rayman Legends. Although that's not an exclusive anymore. Why Wii U? Anyway, so the creative director of the series, Jean-Philippe Caro, engaged a fan on Twitter recently who asked if we could expect a sequel to ZombiU, to which Caro responded, "Thank you for your interest in ZombiU. The team is working hard on a prototype. It's too soon to tell you more."
That's a good Ubisoft accent.
I started that off as a French one, and then it just quickly
just turned into a
devolved.
Ubisoft accent.
Yeah. So time to dust off that Wii U, guys. Get excited, maybe, because it's in the prototype phases, so I don't really even know what that means. We are gonna take a quick second to thank our sponsor, and then we will be back. Or should I say, Shaq.
Okay, so using your video game consoles and handhelds to play video games is great and everything, but you know what is actually even easier is using them to watch movies and TV shows. It's like somebody's playing a video game and you're just watching, but in a more fun way. And that's why Netflix is great. Netflix streams unlimited movies directly to your gaming device of choice, whether it is a 360, PS3, Wii U, 3DS, Vita, PC, iOS, or Android device. It provides countless hours of entertainment for you to enjoy at home or on the go. For a limited time, you can go snag a free trial membership at netflix.com/Destructoid. Not sure if Netflix is available in your country or territory? Well, worry not. Just head to that site, and if it's available, you will be redirected and get a nice free trial. Every sign-up helps support the show. Again, that is netflix.com/Destructoid.
All right, back to the show. So obviously, we had to save the best news for last today, which is that Shaq, the basketball player turned star of the greatest film ever conceived by mankind, Kazam, may have another video game coming out. Max, the details.
Thank you, Tara. Yeah, Mine Oh Mine, the company that operates the 24-hour Shaq media hub, Shaq.com, filed a trademark for Shaqfighter.
Back up a
last
second.
week. Hold on, yeah, let's relish this.
The 24-hour media hub, Shaq.com.
Yeah, you poked around on here a little bit.
I did. I found out some interesting Shaq facts.
Oh, yeah?
Did you know that he is currently getting a PhD in organizational leadership?
Okay.
Yeah, he also has his own brand of basketball-inspired jewelry at Zales. And what was the other one I mentioned on my Twitter?
You're good at this, Tara.
It's good. I know it.
Okay. Well, is it that he registered a trademark for Shaqfighter?
Possibly.
Yeah, who knows? Shaqfighter. This trademark applies towards video games, online games, related TV and animated tie-ins, and any other possible
Comedy Network.
exploitations.
It was a comedy network.
Okay, Shaqfighter.
He runs the Shaq Comedy Network. What is that? What even is it?
What is this episode?
I don't know.
What is on his
so
comedy
excited
network?
about Shaq.
Did you go see it?
I went to it. He actually has some well-known comics on there, like Kevin Hart. That's literally the only one that I remember. I know there are other faces I recognize, but I don't know their names.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently I
hope that some of these unfamiliar names are incorporated into Shaqfighter, of which we still know nothing. Now, much like Michael Jordan, Chaos in the Windy City, and Barkley, Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, Shaq Fu, which you might remember is a Super Nintendo game, it did something that not enough sports games do, which is that it realizes that actual sports are stupid, and this takes popular athletes and puts them into non-sports video games. In the case of Shaq Fu, obviously, it was Shaquille O'Neal throwing down in a battle of martial arts against a variety of cat people and mummies. And I, for one, fully support the idea of a next-gen Shaq Fu sequel in the form of Shaqfighter.
I would kickstart this if I could.
Oh
honestly.
my God! I think we should do a petition. Maybe it's too soon to talk developers, but after what NetherRealm pulled off with Injustice: Gods Among Us, I think that it's safe to say they can turn anyone into a fighting game character. I would love to see like a Pro Stars fighting game, just a bunch of athletes just wailing on each other.
That's true. They did it with
Wayne Gretzky's special move where he just skates in and freezes people.
Dude,
and something.
they did it with Snoop Lion.
Yeah.
Way of the Dog?
Yeah, I don't know. What are we talking about?
I heard that actually wasn't a terrible game,
a completely terrible I think that's all the time we have for today's show. Tara, you want to
Yes.
move us out?
If you guys want to keep up with us on Twitter, you are certainly welcome to. I am Tara Longest. He is Max Scoville, and the show is Detoid Show. We're going to be back here on Friday for another one of our world-famous live shows that is happening at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, right here on youtube.com/Detoid. I have a question.
Yeah?
If I love Shaq, does that mean that I like sports?
I don't think so, because he also is a musician. He's also a rapper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
All right, guys, have a great night. We'll see you next time with hopefully a much less weird episode.
Rap and comedy.